Hello, it's Chris here, Small Business Advisor at Blackpool Council, and we're going to be looking at business plan. This one is directly linked to the requirements for startup loan. If you want to find out more about how we can help, have a look on Blackpool Unlimited or give us a ring. First part of the plan, your contact details so the teams can get in touch with you. Business structure is important, so they need to know how you're thinking of setting up, so self-employed, limited company, or any other option that might suit. If you're not sure, have a look on Gov.uk. First part of the plan, all about the business and how you see it moving forward. How will it grow over the next few years? So we start with an overview. What is it that you're actually doing? What are you making? What are you selling? Products, services, bit of detail. Detail's key to the whole of this plan. You need to think about where you're going to be based, what does that look like, and why do you want to start the business? So what's motivated you? Have you spotted a gap that needs filling? Objectives is next, so this is thinking about how the business will grow. And you can talk about that in any way. So if you want to keep this nice and simple just for yourself, let's talk about that. If you want it to grow and maybe have multiple premises over the next few years or staff, then we need to talk about that here and give an indication of when that might happen. Plus, they want to know how much money you think you'll be clearing each year, because that paints a picture for them to understand how this business will work. Importantly, this is for startup loans, so they want to know exactly how much money you want to borrow and what you're going to be using that money for. And again, we need details, so a shopping list, a breakdown of the money you're asking for and what each part of that is going to be used for over the first 12 months of setting up. Section 2 is all about skills and experience. So any transferable skills you've collected from working, from studying, from volunteering roles, everything counts. And explaining here what you've done, what you learned, and how that's going to help you make this business work. Don't forget to include education and training. Qualifications are important too. Get them in here, but don't just list them. Give us an idea of what they covered. So what area topics did you cover? If there's any gaps in your knowledge or your skills, let's acknowledge them and say how we're going to deal with them. So for a lot of people, the bookkeeping side of running a business is the bit that seems a bit scary. So it might be that you can tap into free support from friends or families, maybe a retired accountant, or maybe somebody else that runs a business. We can talk about that in here. And key people is giving the detail of that information. So if you've mentioned people can help, let's say who they are and let's talk about how exactly they're going to help you. Section 3 is all about customers. So who's going to buy what you're selling? Are there any patterns? Is there a particular age of customer, or do they have certain interests or an income level? Are they from a certain geographical location? Anything that we can help to define customers is going to be useful, because that means we can find them and tell them that you exist. And then what we need alongside of that is statistics. So if we say, well, actually, your customers are going to be in the age range 20 to 40, we can look at ONS, so Office for National Statistics, and work out how many people of that age range are in the area that you're going to be working. And of course, if you're online and you're looking at selling across UK, then we can look at the UK, the whole statistics for the UK. But that starts to give us numbers which can then help us make forecasts for your sales going forward. So it's worth spending a bit of time on. Next part of the plan is thinking about, is your business addressing a particular need or problem? So will that help you sell your product or your service. So what's the need or problem that you're addressing? Next, we've got pricing. So how have you determined what you're going to charge people? And that might be thinking about the cost of a product in the first place, or the cost of delivering a service. You need to think about the cost of extras. So if you've got office space or you're in premises, we need to think about that. Plus, we need to look at all of that information alongside what's happening locally in comparison to other people doing something similar. Where will you fit pricing wise? Section 4 is all about the market and your competition. So what do we know about what's going on out there? Who's doing what? And how do you know customers want to buy what you're selling? So it might be that your research about your market might include surveys, and that could be surveys you do or surveys that have already been done officially online. You might be looking at stats, we mentioned that earlier. There might be official articles out there from industry bodies that relate to what you're doing. It might be observation of your competitors. You might go out and have a look, see how many customers they get during the day. You might do some mystery shopping. All of that information we can then use to help us paint a clear picture of who your competitors are. And then we give a bit more detail. So we want the name and address of competitors, any websites or Facebook pages they've got, and an idea of what prices they charge. So it's something to compare to you. And then we need to think about their strengths, what they're good at, and their weaknesses, so what they're not so good at. And this could help you work out where you fit in. And then all of that information helps us work out, well, what is it that you're offering that's going to be better, different, more interesting, more appealing? We need to be able to explain that to the startup loan people. And there's another section about the business and you. So this is a SWOT analysis. SWOT as in strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So strengths and weaknesses is thinking about you and the business. So what will you be good at? What might you need help with? This relates back to what we've mentioned before. Don't worry about repeating yourself, that's fine. Opportunities and threats is what's going on outside. So opportunities might be thinking about, is anyone retiring in your industry in the local area? Might that help you pick up extra customers? Threats might be the bigger bits. So are there any hints that the government might bring in extra rules and regulations for your area of work, and how will that affect you? Section 5 is all about sales and marketing. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And again, as earlier, we need detail. So we wouldn't just say, well, I'm going to use social media. We'd talk about which elements of social media. So will it be Facebook? Will it be TikTok? Will it be Instagram? And then what are you going to be doing on those and how often? So almost a breakdown of your marketing plan we need to get in here. Written media we can help with. We'll help you do a press release once you're ready to launch. And obviously you can think about other aspects of grabbing attention that are out there. Then startup loan teams want to know, of all of those plans, what are the 3 most important activities that you're going to concentrate on, and what exactly are you going to be doing? So again, this is about detail. Section 6 is starting to think about your day-to-day workings for the business. Startup loan teams are interested in your suppliers. Have you got any key suppliers or key relationship areas that we need to talk about? If you're buying in products, for example, to sell on, we want to know where are they coming from, who's supplying them, and a bit of detail about that source. And then also thinking about what service do they provide. So do you have to make minimum orders? Do you have to order once a week? How often can they deliver? Is there a quick turnaround? Have you spoken to these people already? Have you already warmed them up to the idea that you're starting a business and will be using them? Because this is important. This is going to help you get all your ducks in a row, ready to start. Next section, we're thinking about staff. So again, we need a bit of detail. Will you have staff straight away? So within the first 12 months. If you're going to, then we need the detail of that. Will they be full-time, part-time? How much salary will you be paying them? Don't forget about minimum wage. And what responsibilities will they have? If you're not going to have staff and it's just going to be you for at least the first 12 months and beyond, then we can spell that out here. Location comes back here, but in more detail again. So we're thinking about geographically where you're based and physically. So are you working from home? Will you have a shop, a retail unit? All of that information paints a picture. Next section is all about rules and regulations. So what are the details around that for your business? We can use COBRA for this. So COBRA is Complete Business Reference Advisor, and you can access that for free via the library. And that gives you an overview of all the rules and regulations for what your business is doing. Section 7 is thinking about what's your backup plan. So if this doesn't quite go as well as expected, and maybe income isn't as strong as you thought, how will you make sure that the loan repayments are still made? Because this is all about startup loan, and of course that's what they're keen to make sure, that you're starting a business that's truly viable, and that means they'll get their money back. As harsh as that is, that's what some of this is about. So if it's falling short, can you jump back into your old job and pick up shifts? What will you do? How will it work? How are you going to make sure you don't miss any payments? And then the last bit of Startup Loan Plan is about supporting evidence. So during the writing of the rest of the plan, there might be documents that you think, oh, it'd be handy if I could send that to the startup loan to add to the information you're providing. So section 8 is getting us thinking about that in more detail. So we've only got a couple of ideas here. There'll be loads more. So it might be you want to add your full CV in. If you're taking on premises, that might be a lease. If you're going to transform a shop or other, you might want location photos or photos of what it is you're actually doing or what you want to do. So this is about what can you add to your application that's going to reinforce what you've explained to Startup Loan. And that's it. We're done. The whole plan is done, and that's the detail needed for the Startup Loan. So don't forget, if you want to get in touch, I'm Chris Wilson, Small Business Advisor at Blackpool Council, and this is how you would get in touch with us. Thank you.